Michigan. So if a person is doing an illegal eviction, that has now become a criminal matter. So they are to contact the police, but they can also contact my office, and we will track down. And if we have to call the authorities, we will also. And again, my number is 313-965-8736.
Great. Thank you, Chief Judge. And thank you for making yourself available to people to be able to get that information. That is so very important. So following up, yes,
Mr. Chief of Staff, before you go, I have to say one thing. I wanted, sure. I saw her pop up on the screen. I just want to say, first, that Council President, this is a wonderful thing that she's allowing, that her services and the services of the City Council are not stopping during these emergency times, and that she's giving us this opportunity. And it's an honor for me to be able to talk to the citizens through this vehicle. And I want President Jones to know I'm praying for, my family's praying for, and slow down right now, but keep up the good work.
Well, Chief Judge, thank you so much. And we'll make sure that she knows that. If you know anything about our team, Team Jones, we take serving the citizens of the city of Detroit extremely seriously. And we're Energizer bunnies. We don't stop. We've got this series today. We've got another one tomorrow. We have more coming up next week. We're going to continue because this is very important information that our citizens need to know. And for you and our other esteemed panelists to come on today and to provide your expert knowledge of what's going on is invaluable. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let me ask you another question about evictions. So do people have to provide some type of proof to show that they're unable to pay their rent to avoid an eviction?
A person, and again, it depends on what type of case it is, whether it's a landlord-tenant issue, whether this is an issue dealing with a mortgage, because, I even received something from my lender just asking whether there's a hardship. And a lot of the mortgage companies right now are doing a forbearance, or they're pushing back payments during this time. And so I'm not sure if landlords are doing that, but I would tell any tenant to contact your landlord, contact your apartment complex, and just let them know what's going on. And at this time, they can't evict you anyway, but maybe they can work out some terms. Maybe they can be more sensitive to what your situation is. After the court opens up, and if there is an eviction proceeding that commenced, that is a situation which the judge has limited discretion, but the judge does have some discretion to take into account some circumstances and try to push the parties together to come up with an amenable outcome. But the one thing, Mr. Chief of Staff, that we have to be very careful of is Detroit right now has one of the highest, if not the highest, rates of evictions in the country. And so we've got to come up with something where we are making sure our tenants have actual representation in landlord-tenant cases, and we have to make sure that we're doing everything to keep people in their homes, as well as protecting the rights of a landlord. People, don't have a right to stay for free and not pay a landlord. But we have to make sure we work to strike a good balance where people are paying their rents. But if there are necessary services that need to be helped or be rendered out there, try to find some social services and some help out there. But we really cannot put people out on the street during the pandemic.
That is so true, Chief Judge. And for anyone to have an idea that is averse to what you just said would be a travesty. So, and I know that you recently submitted a proposal to acquire some additional funds to provide help and support and legal defense funds for our constituents. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Yes, sir. We presented a proposal to the MIDC, the Michigan Indigent Defense Council, and we were approved for over $7 million worth of grant dollars to make sure that in a criminal defense case, especially a felony case, that a person has representation from the arraignment stage throughout the trial stage, and that they're not just represented with just a body, but that the lawyer would have resources. If there's a need for an expert witness, if there's a need for an investigator, but that there's an even playing field. And we want to make sure our citizens or anyone that's charged with the crime in Detroit, that they have the representation where we have a fair case. That our proposal is sitting in city council, and once we get back, I look forward to coming over to talk to you guys. But we had the only plan, Mr. Chief of Staff, that there were no questions when it went before the board. There were the staff for the MIDC spoke to how well they worked with the new administration that we have at 36th District. Our project director, which was hired, Mr. Dwayne Anderson, which was hired by the city and working with the Corporation Counsel's office, as well as Dave Masseron, we put together a plan literally in 15 days. And they had been, they had been sitting on something for 18 months. And we put together a plan in 15 days, working nonstop and working together. And that's what we can do. We work together and we put the time in and we put the people first. And that's our goal, is to put the people first. We got it done.
Well, Chief Judge, I have to say to you that when you took leadership control of 36th District Court, you did hit the ground running. You and I had a conversation along with the council president. You outlined some of the goals that you wanted to accomplish very early on. I think when we found out that previously only $1 million had been in that fund to assist our constituents, that was one of the first things that you took on. And I'm so proud of the work that you're doing thus far. I want to tell the citizens of the city of Detroit, your visit to 36th District Court may not always be pleasant, but I guarantee you every effort is being made to give you the highest level of judicial service, customer service in 36th District Court because of our Chief Judge, William McConico.
And Mr. Chief of Staff, I know you got to get to our other guests, but I want just to say one thing before I leave. I was in a training of new chief judges from across the state, and one of the biggest complaints that the chief of staff, the chief judges were mentioning was having a acrimonious posture or relationship with their funding units. And everyone was going around, person after person at the table, and how hard it is to deal with their local officials in this. And they got to me, and I said, well, you might as well pass and go to the next person, because that's not my situation. I said, I have a city council that is our partner, that we represent the citizens, and we look at this as we're co-equal branches of government, but we're working together to deliver the best services. And I don't have that issue, so I'm gonna let my time go to somebody else because I'm working with my.
Good afternoon.
Oh, there she is.
Council President.
Good afternoon, Council President.
Thank you so much, Stephen Grady, for standing in for me. I was trying to get up on Zoom and was having a difficult time getting up in. And I have heard a lot of what you have said, Chief Judge. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you've done since you took over. I just want to really thank you for one thing, and that was the way you took charge, and Stephen has already spoken to it, on taking advantage of the money that was there from the state to ensure that everyone could get proper legal service. So have someone represent them. And so I just want to say thank you for that. When I read the article in the newspaper, I became extremely concerned and began sending memorandums to our law department, asking exactly what was going on, what could we do to ensure that our citizens were getting the proper legal representation, since there was money that was there available for them to be able to get it. And so I just want to say thank you for taking advantage of money that was there to be able to help our constituents here in the city of Detroit over at 36th District Court. So I thank you, and I thank you for all of the work that you have been doing since you have been the chief judge there at 36th District Court. I just want to really, really give you a great thank you.
Thank
And
you,
I know
Madam
you
President.
have been talking for a little while with Stephen, and I know you've been talking about the COVID-19 and talking about the suspension, the temporary suspension of eviction. And I do want to just ask one question though, and maybe I missed this during the time I was trying to get up, but have you talked about, and I'm sure you have, the limited operations during the crisis of the COVID-19?
Yeah. Yes. So our
Okay.
operation, and thank you for that question again. Our operation is still going for essential services, and what we are considering essential services are any person that's in custody. So if there's a person in the detention facility, if there's someone in the Wayne County Jail that has a case, they are going in front of us as scheduled. If there is a misdemeanor case, which is a drunk driving case, a domestic violence case, or a criminal sexual conduct case in the 4th degree, those cases are going as usual. But the cases that deal with civil matters, small claims matters, landlord tenant, those are suspended until April 17th. But the matters where there's someone where their liberties are being taken away from them, being in custody, we are not making a person stay in jail an hour longer than they need to be. And so we're working with the jails, and the police are actually working with us on this too. If it's a person that's a non-violent case, this is a traffic matter, this is an old traffic warrant, we're giving personal bonds as much as possible so that a person, their safety is not in jeopardy in jail, where they could be subjected to a health crisis. We don't want people in jail that don't have to be. Now, if this is a violent case, this is a person that's a danger to society or a flight risk, they have to be incarcerated at this time, and we have to give them the best service and health care we can while they're in. But if this is a low-level case of a traffic misdemeanor or just a speeding ticket or something of that nature, we're giving personal bonds, and we're moving those cases along.
Okay, thank you for sharing that information again. And I just want to say to everybody, please be safe while you're down there working, and I know you are. So thank you again for that information.
Madam President, I told Stephen this now. I don't know if you're wrong. I really appreciate what you're doing, making sure that people have this option to have these resources. And you got an A-list team all week, but we need you to take it easy over there. We need you to slow up just a little bit, Madam President.
Thank you, but I don't think there's such thing as slowing up. And I can tell you that I feel really good. I'm strong. I feel good. I feel healthy. I've had, just short of breath. But other than that, I'm feeling good. I really have not had the symptoms that most people have, or some of the people have had. My symptoms have just been a little short of breath. And I have asthma and bronchitis and have had them for quite some time. And so when the weather changes, I've been known to have short of breath because the weather is changing. And so I have talked to my doctor, and I can tell you, I feel good, and I will continue to do the job as Detroit City Council President and to the best of my ability. And I will continue to stay safe and ask everyone else to stay safe and do the exact same thing. And then I cannot encourage people enough to do exactly as they're telling you to do, and that is to continue to wash your hands with soap and warm water. And if you don't have soap and warm water, do as I do. Keep some hand sanitizer around and make sure your hands are clean, because one thing that I know that we do often is just stick our hands in our face. Our hands are going up toward our eyes, our hands are going toward our nose, our hands are going toward our mouth. Keep your hands out of your face. And that is so very important that people understand that. And only go out if it's necessary for you to go out. If you do not have to go out to get groceries or, something that the governor has stated, because my understanding is people have been out at the park barbecuing in groups of 6 and 8 people, and they're right there with each other and practice social distancing. And that is true, holds true to everybody, and even the judges and the administrators and everyone that's in the courts, even as you're servicing the people on an emergency situation that you have to service them on. Please, please, please make sure that you are being precautious and be safe.
Thank you, Madam President, and we are praying with you. We are with you, and we love the fact that you are keeping it moving. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And thank you to all of the panelists who are there. And I think our next panelist is our Wayne County Treasurer, Sabree.
All right, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
You're unmuted.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Treasurer. I can see you now.
Come on. Thank you, Madam President Jones and Chief of Staff Grady, who is standing in so well for you as usual. And I wanted to thank you for holding these town hall meetings or through the teleconferencing, because it's so important that we keep the message out into the community and people know what's going on. I really appreciate that. And I want to thank our Chief Judge, McConico, for his action regarding evictions and for his leadership at 36th District Court.
Thank you, and thank you, Wayne County Treasurer, Sabree. Let me just ask you a few questions, and I know there might be some things that you can tell me as well, but how can someone sign up for pay-as-you-stay during this time?
Pay-as-you-stay is really important. We're just getting started with it. We received over 4,000 eligible applicants from the city, and they had some taxable values that had to be corrected. So now we have most of those. We're getting ready to send out in the next 2 weeks notices to all 4,000 people who are eligible, and they will be contacting us. We're going to tell them who to contact because our office is closed to the public. We're doing everything by mail. We also are working on a program which should be ready in a week or so. We're going to test it tomorrow, and people can apply for pay-as-you-stay online. So those who are able to apply online, will kind of push them to do it online, and then the rest can do it through the U.S. mail. So we're getting ready to do it. We're going to continue processing these applications for pay-as-you-stay. It may take a little bit longer because people aren't coming in. We're going to do it through the mail, but we're going to continue it. And because there's no foreclosures this year, we've suspended foreclosures for this calendar year, then we have a little more time. We don't have to rush as we had planned to do to try to beat the foreclosure deadline. So we have a little more time. Everyone that's eligible will be taken care of. People have to be an owner occupant, eligible for the program through their local assessor. They have to receive a poverty exemption. And Mr. Donwell, I think, is going to talk a little bit more about that. They have to have delinquent taxes that are unpaid. And we want to direct people to our website too, because we've been putting a lot of things on our website, treasurer.waynecounty.com. If they go there, we'll have updates, what to do. If they have questions, we have an email. We have 2 people that are coming in just to answer emails, and some of them sometimes they stay at home and do it remotely. So if you text us email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. That's taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We responded to over 1,000 emails in the last 2 weeks. People have emailed us, what can they do? How can they get into the program? And it's working well. Considering the situation, we're doing well, and we want to make sure that we keep reaching out to people, letting them know that they still have to pay taxes, but we're giving them the opportunity to take a longer period of time to do it, and we're working with them. So the pay-as-you-stay program is going forward. We'll be sending out notices with specific instructions of what the taxpayers need to do to get it.
Okay, thank you. And because of the stay-at-home, stay safe order, you said I know you said you'll be telling them what to do, but are you contacting homeowners now who may need to enter into some type of agreement? Do you have people at home that's working, that's contacting these homeowners to tell them exactly what to do? Are they putting any yellow envelopes on their doors now, or exactly what's going on now with your staff?
We have been contacting people who we have phone numbers for, sending text messages out to them. We sent out about 10,000, I think, in the last 2 days, letting people know that there are different payment options, because we have about 35% of the taxpayers pay in person. And so what happens is we have a number of people who are going to have to get used to paying at the kiosk or online or through the U.S. mail. So we're sending out text messages, and we're also doing a number of, we have a few commercials out on the radio and TV, and we also have some videos that we're putting on our Facebook page and on our website to explain what the payment options are and what people can do. Now, also, as I mentioned about pay as you stay, we are trying to have an online payment plan option, and that's going to be developed in the next few weeks. We're rushing right now, working overtime to get that done. Right now, when people want a payment plan, they're going to have to contact us by mail, and then we'll send them the information. If they leave a name, address, their phone number, and their email address, we'll contact them and be able to enter into a payment plan through the U.S. mail until our online payment option is available.
Okay, thank you so very much. And if you need to, one more question with that. Will penalties and interest on late fees, will they also be waived?
Well, the interest, and we really don't have penalties here. Penalties are for current taxes. The city, they have penalties. We just have we have interest that accrues on the unpaid balance. That's statutory. That can be waived by the state legislature. If the state legislature decides they want to waive it, they would have to do something because it's part of the state law. But the pay as you stay, of course, that eliminates all interest, penalties, and fees from back taxes. For those individuals who are participating in pay as you stay, all their penalties, fees, and interests are eliminated. But as far as the average taxpayer who's not a part of that pay as you stay, and they just have a tax bill, and we're giving them more time to pay, but the interest is still going to accrue based on what type of payment plan they're in. If they're an owner occupant, it's 6% a year. And if they're a non-owner occupant, that would be 18% a year. But the legislature could make a change on that. They can do that.
Okay, thank you for that information. Is there any other additional information or anything that I've not asked you that you think it's important for our listeners to hear, that's important to the residents, not just of Detroit, but of Wayne County?
Okay, yes, I had one thing, is that we have two locations that people can mail things to. One is the 400 Monroe address, our office, 5th floor, Detroit, Michigan, 48226. That's the normal address, that's where we are. But we also have a lockbox that we advertise to, and that's a P.O. Box 554889. And you may see that on our TV commercial, P.O. Box 554889, 48232. That's a lockbox that's taken care of by Comerica Bank. And I just wanted to make sure that people know that's a legitimate mailing address for us, as well as the 400 Monroe address. And also that no one should give money to anyone outside the treasurer's office. We're not collecting any money. We're not going to anybody's house collecting taxes because our office is closed. I want people to make sure that they don't give money to anyone unless they're mailing it in, going to the kiosk, or paying online. That is absolutely important because there's a lot of scams out here and people taking advantage of individuals who don't know. Please go to our website, treasurer.waynecounty.com, for more updates.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to ask you, Treasurer, if you can hang tight, don't hang up. We still have callers for question and answers who are waiting to be able to talk to the panelists after we finish. So please, if you can stay tuned, I would appreciate it. After we finish going through with our panelists, there are several callers who have questions that they would like to get responses to.
Okay, I know, I agree with Chief Judge that you got to slow down too, by the way.
I appreciate you. You heard me tell the Chief Judge, I feel real good. I feel healthy. I feel strong. And I'm going to tell you, if I would not have taken that test and I had some shortness of breath and just a little coughing, but nothing unusual. And I have shortness of breath at times because I have asthma and bronchitis. And depending on how the weather is changing, the shortness of breath, sometimes kicks in. But had I not been told, go over there and take that test, and I was trying to get it, and I went one time and they said, you're good. They listened to my lungs and they said, you're good. Go home and take care of yourself. And I said, okay. And I was told by someone after my executive protection officer took the test, and thank God he tested negative. Someone told me, okay, law enforcement reports to you. You're around law enforcement all the time. Go and take the test. I went and I took the test because of the shortness of breath and because I just coughed a few times, and lo and behold, I tested positive. And again, I feel good. I've been working every day. We'll continue to work. We'll continue to do the job as City Council President. To the best of my ability, we'll try to continue to keep people informed on what's going on, try to tell people to stay safe. Don't think it can't happen to you. You may not even think you have signs. Everybody doesn't have the fever. I never had a fever. So just be precautious and stay safe. That's all I can say. I cannot tell people that enough. You cannot be, keep your hand sanitizer around. If you do not have water and soap right there that you can use, keep your hands out of your face. And I cannot repeat that enough because I know I'm constantly rubbing my eyes or scratching my face or something, but keep your hands out of your face and stay in. Stay in. If you don't have to go out, do not go out. Stay in. But I do feel good. I'm not taking it lightly at all, and I don't want anybody else to take it lightly. Thank you.
That's great advice, and you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, and I appreciate you for everything that you are doing as well. If there's nothing else you want to add, I am going to move on to Willie Donwell. And I think he is standing by. Mr. Donwell, are you here with us?
I am. There we go.
Good afternoon, Mr. Donwell. Thank you for being here. And Willie Donwell is the chair of the Detroit Property Tax Board of Review. Thank you again for being here with us. And thank you for everything that you do as well. Thank you for your entire team and the job that they do. I just have a few questions I'm going to start off asking you as well. And that is, I'm going to start off with number one. If an appeal has been filed and I'm trying to find out what's going on, how can I get that response during this stay home, stay safe order? Do I have to wait until this stay home, stay safe order has been lifted?
So if a person is filed for a evaluation appeal, we actually did complete reviewing all appeals, and we're doing our final signing of the tax roll on Monday so that the assessor roll can be transferred to the county equalization director by Wednesday, which is per state law. We are doing that via the same model that City Council works. You're currently using Zoom, and we'll be doing that on Monday at 11 o'clock.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said you're using Zoom because I had gotten a little afraid. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone available via phone to answer any questions regarding the property tax exemption application? So like my office is still working and they're checking the voicemails, and they're returning calls as people are leaving voicemails. We're returning phone calls. Do you have anyone that's working that's able to answer any questions that anyone have?
So we have a couple ways that folks can get in contact with us. There is no one in the office every day, but we are checking. So on the City of Detroit website, they can go to detroitmi.gov/HPTAP. They can email us at hptap@detroitmi.gov. And then we also have a special hotline set up for exemptions, 224-3030. And they can call, and if they do not get someone, they can actually leave a message and someone will call them back. We are doing a lot of things remotely.
Thank you so very much for that. And is there, if someone wanted to file for an exemption, is there any extension for filing for an exemption?
So the great part about it is the deadline is not actually until the end of the year. So this year, the deadline is December the 14th. The Board of Review actually has all year, just per state law, to review and make determinations on applications. So we do have time. I don't want people to feel afraid that there's a special cutoff or they don't have an opportunity to get their application in. We have until December the 14th for applications to be filed, but we do ask that people get their applications in as soon as possible so we can get them reviewed.
Okay, and if someone applies for an exemption and they receive it, will it show before the summer tax bill has been generated?
So all of the applications that have been processed for the March Board Review, which is just over 1,500, will receive a correct tax bill for those exemptions that have been granted. And they will show no taxes and just one half of the solid waste fee. We have also worked out an arrangement with our city treasurer that we will continue to process applications on a weekly basis all the way through the beginning of May, so that all those applications that have been approved by the beginning of May, those will also receive a correct tax bill, and they won't have to receive an adjusted tax bill later.
Okay, well, you've answered my questions that I have thus far. Is there anything that you want to add that I did not ask that you feel is important?
I think that it's important that people understand, yes, we're in an unusual time right now, so we have to be especially cautious of making sure that we file for the exemption if you need it, because once things go back to whatever the reasonable normal may be, processes will be following the law. And if we can correct it or get you the exemption at the city level, that means that our friend Eric Sabree, the treasurer, will have less work to do.
And that's what we want. We want our friend Eric Sabree to have no work when it comes to foreclosures. So thank you for that. And I want him to keep a job, but I don't want him to have work when it comes to foreclosing people out of their home. So thank you so very much for that information. All right, and thank you for the service again that you and the staff down in the property exemption is doing. I truly appreciate you all.
Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'm going to move on to Rencher, who is the Director of the Detroit Housing and Revitalization Department. And I think I'll take you guys separate. So, Mr. Rencher, and I know also we have Dr. Chad Audie, who is with the Detroit Rescue Mission. Maybe, I don't know if we have the capabilities of putting them on both together. And if we have those capabilities, I'd like to hear from both of you, but I'm going to start off with you, our Director of the Housing and Revitalization Department. Are you there, Mr. Rencher?
I am. Can you hear me, President Jones?
I can hear you well. I just want to ask, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that I have for you, and I have some questions for also you, Dr. Audie, and maybe I should start off with you, Dr. Audie, to ask you, since washing hands is so important, and it's real important. I'm telling people wash your hands as much as you can with hot water and soap. And if you don't have that, to use hand sanitizer every time you think about it. You can't use too much of it to do that. Are you assisting, or is there any way that we're assisting the homeless with the hand sanitizer and helping them out there? And then once he finished, if you can add a piece onto that, Mr. Rencher.
Thank you for having me. Yes, we do help. I mean, within our facilities, everybody who is inside our facilities getting to shower as well as wash their hands as many times they want. We also sanitize the whole place. Unfortunately, there is not enough hand sanitizer to give every person who is homeless or non-homeless. There is a small supply of hand sanitizers, but we are making sure that everyone have access to warm water, and there is a lot of soap, and we give all the homeless that we can reach them all hygiene kit so they can use it at their own leisure. But to answer your question directly, hand sanitizers, we're not able to give as much, but we are giving water and soap, warm water and soap for everybody to be able to wash their hands and face and take a shower.
Okay, and to you, our Director of Housing and Revitalization, can you first of all just start, and I'm going to move back to Mr. Audie on this same question. Can you talk about what the city of Detroit is doing as far as helping our homeless population during this COVID-19?
Yes, President Jones. First of all, I just want to say thank you, just like everybody else, to have this forum and providing the invite to me so we can provide our residents with information, and also you are in my thoughts. Just want to make sure you try to stay safe as much as possible. And that includes everybody else in the city. So as soon as we knew that things were getting serious with COVID, the first thing, if you watched any news or looked at any type of print or information that the CDC put out, the first thing that every expert was were telling people to do, that you had to shelter in place and separate yourself from others. And of course, with our precariously housed individuals, our homeless individuals, they don't really have the ability to shelter in place, right? Many of our homeless are in shelters with other individuals in large space, and so you cannot separate. They can't separate each other from. They can't not separate themselves from each other, right? So the first thing that we did, and Dr. Audie has been with us in the front lines of this from day one, is that we tried to find overflow shelter space and take buildings, make them a building that can be up and running. Dr. Audie did the same thing for one of the buildings that he owns, ensure that people are receiving food, nursing care, a bed, or just regular shelter space. And so people can have overflow space where you can send individuals as space in regular shelters are starting to be reduced, right? And so you see that from the from CDC and from the president on down the line, that you have to practice safe distance and screening from other individuals. And so shelter space have not been able to essentially create enough space from their population within the shelters. And so we have an overflow space where people can go. We still have 2 shelters currently where overflow space can happen, where you can send individuals who are suffering from homeless to get an actual roof over their head and a bed, food, and also medical assistance. We've also been able to set up 2 to 3, and I'm working on 3rd one right now, shelter spaces where we could take individuals who are either suffering symptoms President Jones, you had also stated that, you know, not everybody is symptomatic. We have nurses that are going to every other day, going to all the shelters, taking temperatures, and also seeing if individuals are symptomatic. If people are symptomatic, we are taking those individuals out of that shelter space, going to our alternative shelter space where they can receive even more care, and nurses alike. We have partnered with Wayne State University. Wayne State University will take temperatures once individuals are there. And if they are COVID positive, we are keeping those individuals in these particular shelters. And so we can deflect them from possibly getting other people sick in the community, including shelter space. So we don't allow them to go back to shelter space. And so those are the things that we are doing right now. I think we've been able to stand up almost, and are currently working almost up to 500 unit spaces, additional beds, which is a very, very hard thing to do, to coordinate food, linen services, washing, janitorial services, staffing, and essentially standing up shelter space to take on this additional need in the homeless community. We are also equipping our outreach team for individuals who don't usually go to shelters, but ensuring that we are going to spaces that we know that homeless individuals congregate at, and also taking temperatures and doing health checks there to see if people are sick. And if people are sick, we are also taking those individuals to our quarantine, I guess you can say a quarantine site. Right now it's located at the Salvation Army, and we're looking at opening 2 other spaces in the next 2 weeks to take in this population. But we are all coordinated. We hold about at least one webinar with all of our homeless shelters at least once a week. We've provided additional dollars, and we're also supplying supplies as much as we can. As Dr. Audi said, it's hard to get hand sanitizer and the like. Most of the hand sanitizer that we are getting from the city of Detroit are going to our first responders, but we have been able to obtain some of those supplies, and we're going to continue to try to push to get more supplies to our shelters over this period.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Dr. Audi, can you talk about what's going on at the Detroit Rescue Mission?
Yes, first of all, I would like to emphasize how much we worked with the city of Detroit. It's a great work. For a long time, we have not seen such a great team. So Donald, and also the health department, we have a person by name David, who from day one, they started coordinating and start planning for a long-term vision. This work has been very, 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 very good. And I can't thank enough this team who is really making a big difference for the population that we are serving. So in addition to what Donald has spoke to, today we are overwhelmed for sure. Because the shelter by itself, we had to downside on the number of the people to go in so we can keep the spaces. And this is why it was very important for us to open an overflow, not only because we're getting more people coming in, but also to be able to accommodate the distance among the existing shelters. And this is not only for single men, this is for all population. That's men, women, and children, and a whole family. So, and the health department partnership that Donald brought in, and for sure Arthur Jemison, to bring in the health department into the mix was very important, because they can go routinely among the shelters and check on the people. They check their temperature, they check for symptoms, and then they open a new place where we can quarantine people if they need to be quarantined. The difficulties that we are facing definitely right now, it's more on the staffing level, because and unfortunately we have 6 staff of Detroit Rescue Mission who tested positive. One of them is a very severe, who's fighting for her life at Henry. The rest are quarantined, but that put the morale a little bit low on what we call because we also are frontline servers like the healthcare, and people sometimes don't realize that our staff are in daily contact with different people at every day, and their immune system is low. So this is becoming a little bit of a challenge for us that we are managing, and then we are in constant talk with the city at every day to see what venues and what resources they have to continue to best serve the population. But so far, everybody's getting 3 meals, everybody having a shelter over their head. Anybody who needs service, they can call us. We immediately accommodate people. And then we try not to make any delay. And if there is any issue with CAM, we circumvent CAM and we bring them directly. The idea is we don't want to have anybody out. We just want them to be sheltered. The second thing that we've done, all our shelters and warming centers are operating right now 24/7. So we don't just feed people and let them stay for 12 or 13 hours and tell them to go. They all are in for 24/7. For sure, we can't force people to stay, but we are encouraging people to stay. So that's basically what we are doing right now.
Thank you so much for that. Are you screening? Are you doing COVID-19 screening there for your residents, or how are the residents there actually getting screened?
We do test people as they're walking in. We check their temperature, and that's both for the staff as well as the customers who are coming in. But also the Detroit Health Department, they send nurses to all the shelters, and then they double check on everyone over there. We have a questionnaire that we will fill out for everyone, but then the nurses, when they come in, they go more in depth and making sure that if anybody having an issue and they don't want to talk about it, the health department will acknowledge that person. They will let us know who he is or she is, and then we will move them immediately to the quarantine site.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And again, I want to just thank you for all the work that you do. Every time I've called you needing assistance for someone who had no place to go or was just out there and I was concerned about them, you did whatever it took to make sure that person was assisted. I called you and said, we have a problem with someone needing a home. You did what you needed to do to get that person a home. And just remember one particular person who had a child that was disabled, and you came through for that entire family, got them a home, and it was a working individual that was homeless, and you all worked with them to get them financial literacy and make sure they understood everything. Got to the home, they were in tears because they had food in the refrigerator. They had everything that they needed. They had linen, they had towels, they had pots and pans, and you all made sure that family was taken care of. And I can never thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for the things that you do to help our homeless population. They are people as well, and they deserve to be treated like people, and you all treat them very good. And I just can't say thank you enough for what you do. And I know that you are extending yourself in your services during this COVID-19 period, and I thank you so much. And I do just want to add, I also have supplies like soap and those things that are the smaller packages that you go to the hotel and you don't use that stuff and you find yourself bringing it back for homeless shelters. I'm going to contact you because I'm going to get all that stuff with my gloves on, and I have my gloves, I keep them handy, put those things in a bag so that someone can come by, get those things off my porch, because now is the time that I know you can use as much of that as you can possibly get. So I thank you so very much for what you are doing with our homeless population and the way you all treat our homeless population. I thank you so very much. I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Rencher. and ask you a question. Is the outreach team out right now during this COVID-19 pandemic looking for a homeless population? Are we doing the wraparound services right now, taking them in? And do we have any available living spaces, any vacant buildings or any dorms? I know Wayne State is assisting us, but do we have any dorms, any place, or any more available living spaces that we can assist our homeless population?
Yes, that's an excellent question, President Jones. And Dr. Audie, I can't say enough, like I said, you've been there since day one and even before handling this issue specifically with COVID. But yes, that's essentially what I'm doing every day, is trying to identify spaces where we can take individuals. Right now, I believe Dr. Audie has, for his overflow space, he has 124 spaces, and I think he has around 60 people there. We've been able to, I know NSO, we've been able to find them overflow space, and I think there's about 25 spaces available there. I would like to give a number. This number is for anybody who needs assistance for housing. This is every newspaper article that I've been asked to speak on this situation. If I can give the number, 313-484-4449, and I'm hoping that I can work with Steve and ensure that we get that information out there. That is the number you call if you are running into somebody who is homeless.
Can you repeat that
at
number?
all, but it's 313-484-4449. And yes, we would like to make sure either we can help them with small, to help them with small issues, like whether if they need to get to their, they have a transportation issue to get to their, to a family member, or we can place them in shelter and provide them a bed, food, and shelter space and medical services. That's the number you call, and we can point, and we're going to help point that individual to in a certain direction to help that person. But we definitely still have room. Currently, our quarantine site at Salvation Army has about 102 spaces. We have at that space, we have about 25 people who have been shown that there are symptoms that we have taken out of shelter space. And out of those individuals so far, we've only had 2 recorded COVID cases. We've had a couple people that have had their tests come back negative. And so we're just waiting for everybody with Wayne State's help and assistance to test everybody. Everybody's been tested, we're waiting for results. But we have enough space for individuals. So please call us at that number, and we will help you get housed.
Okay, thank you so very much for that information. So I'm gonna, and I still had a few questions, but I know our listening audience has been very patient, and I know they have some questions that they do want to ask, and I do know how to contact you. But let me just ask you one last question, Mr. Rencher, and because Mr. Audie already touched on it, most of the shelters want people out at a certain time. So are we working with the shelters that are in the city to ensure that if people want to stay or need to stay longer than the time that they are normally put people out, that they are allowing them to stay?
That's actually a great question. I would say 3 weeks ago now, when we noticed that the COVID crisis was starting to become a larger thing. This is before even the state of Michigan even had a COVID case even announced yet. The first thing we did was put additional funding and give additional funding to all shelters. That was like the number one thing. So they can address or be able to purchase things for their shelter space if needed. And the second thing is that there is a rule that it's a 90-day rule that if you've been at a shelter space for 90 days after that, you have to move out of that shelter space. So the second thing I did was to ensure that that rule no longer stands. And so every individual gets to stay in that shelter space as long as they want to, specifically during this COVID crisis, because we don't want people to be out there alone and convening and not being able to shelter at all. So that is one thing that we've been able to do. All people who are in shelter space are going to be allowed to stay where they're at, and nobody's being moved out or pushed out.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I just want to thank both of you gentlemen for the work that you are doing, the work that your staff is doing in assisting our homeless. Again, they are people as well. Sometimes, I tell people all the time, as far as it's kept, most of us are only one paycheck away from being homeless ourselves. And now is a time that's going to test a lot, but thank God that we have a God that's watching over us. And I thank him because he's truly watched over me and has kept me. And so I just thank you both for the work that you're doing. And I thank your staff for the work that they're doing in assisting during this COVID-19 period of time. I want to, if you all can remain on the line, I want to go to our callers. I know we have callers who have been waiting with questions. Yesterday, I had someone ask questions about homeless, and I told them to call back today. So I know we do have questions from our callers. I just want to say to people, often it's easy to sit at home and criticize on what you think may or may not be happening. And so now you have individuals on the line who can actually answer what they are doing or what they can and cannot do. And so now is your opportunity to call in and ask the question that you have so you can get an answer directly from the individuals who are working with this and with our homeless population. We have our treasurer who has held on. We have Willie Donwell who has held on, and hopefully we've been able to get our judge back on the line. But I just want to say thank you to all of the panelists for sitting tight and holding on to be able to answer the questions that our participants have. So who do we have with questions?
Madam President, just to let you know that we have been in touch with Chief Judge McConico. He was called away for urgent matter, but he's trying to take care of that and to come back. Also, we ask for all of our participants who are on the telephone, if you have a question or a comment, if you could press *9, that will allow you to raise your hand, and then we will be able to unmute you so that you can ask your question.
Let me also, before we go to our first caller, and this is the one thing I want to say because my phone has really been ringing a lot with people who are concerned, and I thank everyone for their concerns, and I do not take testing positive lightly at all. But I do want to say my quarantine, and I self-quarantined myself, not knowing what was going on, and we've been working from home, and so I've been self-quarantined just working from home. But I do want to just let everyone know that I took my test, I want to say it was March 23rd, and Monday will be my 14th day. That they say stay in for 14 days, quarantine yourself for 14 days. Monday coming up will be my 14th day of being quarantined, and from the day that I took the test, where I got results from just this week saying that I was positive. So let's go to our callers.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, our first caller is calling in with the last 3 digits of their phone, 290. Caller number 290, please speak.
Hello, my name is Miss Adams, and I'm calling in reference to the funding that was provided by the CARE Act. Is that in coincide with the housing revitalization department? And if so, for individuals, how does that affect them becoming eligible for the Section 8 programs, and once they complete the homeless stay, if they, if the time limit does expire.
Yes, Steve, can you hear me? Or
I can hear you.
oh,
Rencher,
everybody can hear me. Okay,
I can hear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is all right. This is Donald Rencher. Yes, very, very good question. We, of course, the stimulus bill came down to provide funding in various aspects of federal HUD funding, whether it's Section 8, CDBG, ESG, different funding sources that help and assist just housing-related issues. Tomorrow, we're going to be on a phone call with HUD, and they're going to break down exactly how we can use this money.
Okay.
And so I just want to make sure that you know that, because there are all types of rules and regulations on how you can spend it and where you can spend it on. But one, I can tell you that one, in one area, in the homelessness area, I think this has received a lot of attention, and I'm hoping that we can put a lot more money into homelessness issues, and we can provide more housing opportunities where we're doing what we call permanent supportive housing projects to help homeless individuals receive not only a brick and mortar housing, right, and shelter, but also wraparound services that go with it. But we are still trying to figure out and determine exactly how much we're going to get personally from the city of Detroit and how they're going to allow us to use that money.
Okay. And I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. For one thing, how does a homeless individual that has no physical address provide an accurate census application? Is that a part of something that someone can answer? I'm not for sure.
That is a really good question. I would pose that to Vicky Kavari. Unless Dr. Audie, has anybody come to your site to take in information about your population for census?
Yes, the census, we will, if they are residing in the facility and they don't have a physical address except the facility that they're in, we will be able to let them use the facility they're in so they can be counted in the address that they're in, as long as they do not be counted in another address. So if they are staying, let's say, at one of our shelters for 90 days, and there will be a computer in each facility where they can go in, log in, and then fill out the form and use their facility address as their present address. So they will be in Detroit if they are in Detroit, as long as they do not get counted somewhere else.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Audie and Director Rencher. We're ready to go to our next speaker, our next participant. That is caller number 479. Caller 479, you are unmuted.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you. My question, well, he's not here, but it was actually to the judge. I'm wondering about, for example, the current moratorium on evictions. And my concern is that if the stay-at-home order had been extended to April 13th, why does that not, 30th, April 30th, why does that not translate into the date around moratorium on eviction?
So I cannot answer that question. Hopefully our judge will join us back before we have finished. If we do not get that answer for you, I'm going to ask that you contact my office at 313-224-1245. Leave your name and a number that you can be reached back on, and we will get with the judge or one of the staff people or one of the judges from the 36th District Court and get that response for you. or even maybe allow them to be able to talk directly to you. If that's okay, you can contact my office again at 313-224-1245. Although we are not physically there, my staff is checking the voicemail very regularly, and we will get your information and refer that information to someone who can get that answer for you.
Yeah, thank you. What maybe you are able to answer this question: who sets the deadlines for the courts? Is that not under the state? Is that not under Whitmore's purview and her executive orders? Like, do the court, the 36th district, the ones who are setting the deadlines?
So you're asking if the 36th District Court is under the stay-home order of the judge?
Because the it's April 30th, but the evictions are to April 17th. And my question is, like, does the 36th District as a court get to set when that moratorium date is, or is that something that they have to wait on the state to decide?
Okay. And again, that's a question that I cannot answer. That would be a question that the chief judge would have to answer. And again, if he's not able to join us, we will, if you call my office, leave a number that we can call you back on. We will get that answer for you and even try to connect you with someone if you have an additional question to ask them. So thank you for that question.
Madam President, we are ready for our next caller. Caller number 672, you are unmuted.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Hard times, blessings everybody, but my old lady recently put me out again. I was kind of stable, but my name is Larry. I heard you earlier in the call say something about the Salvation Army. Can I still get down in there and have a place to stay? Because I just got for that.
So, am I on?
Yes, sir.
This is Donald Rencher. Okay, thank you, Steve. So,
Is the Salvation Army still available to take people in? Y'all still got space?
Right. So there's some way to make sure everybody understands. The Salvation Army is specifically for people who have are showing symptoms of being sick, who potentially could be COVID positive, and it's also a space for COVID positive people. So if you're not sick, or you don't have, or you're not COVID positive, then this is the place that I don't want you to go, right? Because we want to keep you healthy. We do have other space though. We do have other space though. All right, so if you call the number.
How can I get a list of them other space?
Okay, if you call the number, I'm going to give you the number real quick. Are you ready to take this number down?
Give me a second.
All right, it's
Go ahead.
313.
I got it. 313.
All right, 313-484-4449.
4449. All right.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks,
okay.
Who is our next caller?
Yes, Madam President, we have another caller, and I will let all of our participants know if you would like to be able to ask a question or make a comment, please press *9 on your phone, and we can get you in line to make a comment. Our next caller is caller number 071. 071, you are unmuted.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Council, how are you today?
I am blessed by the best. Thank you for asking.
I just want to send over my healing blessings to you, President Brenda Jones, and thank you so much for opening this forum up for the citizens of Detroit.
And thank you for calling in, and thank you for your blessing.
Thank you. I run a production company here called Rise Detroit City, and I was wondering whether any services that I could offer to help out with the COVID-19 duration until we're able to heal as a whole entire city from this.
Okay, I'm gonna really ask you, and I like anyone that likes to call in and volunteer their services. I truly appreciate that. If you will call my office, 224-1245, leave your name and your number, and I guarantee you, we will give you a call back and on what you can do to be able to assist the city. Thank you so very much for that call. Our next call.
Council President, I'm sorry to interrupt you if I may. Chief
Yes.
Judge is on the line. He called in. Stephen, I have renamed his phone number and you should see it on your screen.
I do see it on the screen, and I have unmuted him so that he can respond to the questions about how Governor Whitmer's, the changes to her orders affect the opening and closing of 36th District Court.
Chief Judge McConico? Chief Judge? Are you there, Chief Judge? Chief Judge? And the Chief Judge was just calling me on my cell phone. So Chief Judge, are you there? Can you hear us? If we open the question up to our next person, I will try to reach out to the Chief Judge to see if we can get him back on the line.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to go to our Chief Judge. Is that you? Okay, we'll go to our next caller. Caller 446. You are unmuted.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Caller 446, are you there?
I got a question. Is this the last three numbers of your phone number?
Yes, ma'am. It's the last three numbers of your phone number.
Okay, thank you. I was kind of confused. Hello, guys. My name is Kia. I'm wondering. I was able to only get in late, and I know there's a lot of stuff you missed over. So the first question is, is this recorded, and will I be able to hear what I've missed earlier? The second, because I'm not exactly sure what you went over. The second question is, I was wondering if there was discussion as the city council was putting the budget together, is there a discussion around allocating some money for housing as far as rent and mortgage assistance for everyday community members when we start the recovery process? Because I know right now we're dealing with the emergency, even 36th District Court is halting, evictions, but I'm saying after, because for a few months now, or we won't really know the impact of, people being able to afford their housing for a few months now. So I'm wondering if there's any discussion about money being allocated for housing assistance, for everybody in the city of Detroit.
Mr. Rencher,
this is Don. Yep. Yeah, this excellent question. And so someone did ask about the stimulus bill, and the city of Detroit is going to be receiving funding from that stimulus bill. And tomorrow is our first phone call to find out exactly what we can use the money on. And so we're going to have those discussions. You pretty much hit the nail on the head, right? And so I think the first couple of weeks was we were dedicated just for essentially addressing and ensuring people are healthy. And it was focused more on the homeless population, because they are the population who's not able to quarantine or shelter in space or separate themselves from others in the community. And so we are starting to think already about discussions about how we can address just housing matters, right? Having conversations with all of our housing partners, whether it's the State Housing Authority and also the Detroit Housing Commission, to see what we can do to help people provide more stability in their housing situations. And so that is something we are definitely looking at. But like I said, tomorrow we're going to find out exactly what we can use the money for and how we can use it. There's a lot of red tape and regulations. I'm hoping that they allow us to use this money freely, and we're going to put together programs that can actually help people and individuals in the city of Detroit. And like again, there are a lot of regulations, but we're going to see what they're going to allow us to use the money on. We see there's a huge opportunity to house homeless individuals, and that's definitely something that's in top priority of our list. But we know that a lot of people are unable to pay rent and address their mortgage situation. And so, but we are having pretty much daily conversations on what we can do to address that.
Thank you, Director Rencher. And I see that we've been joined again by our Chief Judge. Chief Judge, are you able to comment?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. You can.
Okay. I could hear you guys last time, and I guess something was going wrong on my end.
Oh my God.
The question that I heard was whether how are based on the governor's executive orders, how does that relate to our operations at the court? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The governor's orders, they don't have a direct correlation on our operations. Our direct orders come from the Supreme Court. However, the Supreme Court, namely the Chief Justice, tries to mirror her orders based on the orders of the governor, but we wait for direction from the Supreme Court. And in order for me to close the court or do something of that nature, I have to get approval from the Supreme Court, and that doesn't come from the governor's office. And so that's, so normally they mirror each other, but it comes directly from the Supreme Court.
Okay, Judge,
Steve, this is Donald. I'm sorry, I just wanted to interject because I think there was one part that was missing, Chief Judge, was that I think specifically the individual was asking, and this is a good question because I'm thinking about it too. Currently, the timetable to allow people from having a moratorium on eviction was 30 days. Now that the governor has come back and said there's a stay-at-home order that's lasting longer than the 30 days, will there also be a thought of extending that moratorium on evictions to match what the governor actually handed down? I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure. I think that.
Yeah, and what we've been dealing with the moratorium on evictions. We were actually the first court to have a moratorium on evictions, and then the governor came and put an executive order on evictions. And so we will marry, our times will be, if she extended it, our times will match up with the governor's time. It's not, so that we will do that when it comes to eviction. I have not seen a new extension, but if there is an extension past April 17th, we will match that with the governor's date. But our orders come directly from, our mandatory orders come from the Supreme Court. The stuff is optional. I know it sounds funny, but it's optional coming from the governor's orders. But in all of her orders that she has stated, the Supreme Court has made the identical order. But so we're adopting their order. I know that's a very long answer, but if she has extended the moratorium, we will extend the moratorium also, is the short answer.
Thank you so much for that response, and thank you for calling back in once you finished with your emergency, and we truly appreciate you. Our next hand, if you can stay on, Chief Judge, please.
I am. I'm in the driveway of my mom's house, so I told her I'm not coming in until I get off the call.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate you as well as all our panelists. Our next caller, Mr. Grady.
Yes, Madam President, our next caller, and callers, when we call your number, it is the last 3 digits of your phone number. And if you would like to be able to raise your hand to ask a question, you can press *9 on your phone. Once again, that is *9 on your phone, puts you in line to ask a question. I believe this next caller is caller number 091. Caller number 091, you are unmuted.
Thank you, caller. The floor is yours.
Hello. My question is for the Housing and Revitalization Department. There's been continued new build construction in my neighborhood, and I was just wondering if this is considered essential under the governor's order.
Under the governor's order, no, that is any construction work is not considered essential. However, if that construction work is seen as something that's an emergency, that can be seen as essential. So President Jones knows that we do rehabs for seniors that are who have emergency repairs that need to get finished. We are finishing and completing those repairs. So it depends on what type of construction is happening. But other than that, if it's not an emergency, orders have that you are not supposed to be rehabbing or doing any type of contracting work during that time unless there's an emergency order allowing them to do so.
Is there someone that should be contacted? The construction workers were under the impression that they were authorized by the city, but it's a completely new development.
Yeah, I would say that right now the enforcement entity that's handling all issues related to that are the police. And if they are under emergency order to continue to work, anybody that we've discussed to do essential work that we consider essential has been given a certain placard or a document that shows that they are essential and essential.
Thank you. Our next caller, please.
And our next caller is caller number, and these are the last 3 digits of your phone number. Our next caller is caller number 773. You are unmuted.
Caller number 773, you have the floor.
Hey, Council, how are you?
Good afternoon. I am blessed.
Good afternoon. How are you guys? Okay, so I had a past incident that just happened last week. Now I hear you guys talking about the order, about the eviction process. So I currently just had an eviction same day. I didn't even know the eviction was taking process. There was a lot of units out with the DPD that came out to assist the eviction to make sure that nothing was damaged in the home or whatever. But upon this eviction, you guys had another officer that got on the scene. And then for some reason, when this officer got on the scene, I don't know if she got the wrong communication or what, but she got on the scene and she got my car towed. She tried to arrest me and my partner that was there at the moment. And along with this happening, while she had us in the car trying to take us into the precinct, when she finally called her supervisor and he informed her that she wasn't supposed to be arresting us, nor was our car supposed to be getting impounded, she tried to let me out blocks away from the actual incident or the scene. So I'm not exactly sure what happened during this time, but during the time, I had exhausted all of my money due to food, medication, and everything for the household and for my kids. And with her dropping us off and me not making it back to my car before it was impounded, I lost everything. My car got impounded. They threw all my food out, all my clothes, all the household items, all the medication. Everything's gone. So I'm kind of just stuck in a bad position and trying to figure out what should I do next.
Wow. Well, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Judge McConico. Well, when was this eviction? What date did this occur on?
This was March 25th. So this was last Wednesday.
Yeah, no. There should not have been an eviction on March 25th at all. There should not have been an eviction in the state of Michigan.
And the police tried to apologize after when she called her supervisor and found out that I wasn't supposed to be arrested. But then at this point, everything's gone. The homeowners threw out all my food. all my clothes, all my kids' medication, all the things that I spent all my money on. My car got impounded. I just got laid off of work weeks ago. So I'm in a position where I have nothing. And the police officer is in charge or that, you know, did all of this. I have no assistance. I literally lost everything. And now I'm stuck. My kids have missed multiple doctor's appointments. Me, myself, I have to take my mom. Are
you back in the unit now, or are you completely evicted and gone from that dwelling?
No, completely evicted and gone. All of my food, all of my clothes, everything has been trashed. And then the police officer, before she tried to let us out her car, she got back in touch with the homeowners that said that they would have kept our things, you know, until later on in the week. But that's not what happened. When she contacted us, everything had been thrown out.
Hold on for a moment and let the judge speak. Please,
yeah.
thank you.
Sir, well, first of all, none of that should have happened. And I'm going to give you my office number. I want you to call, leave your information, say that you called in, and we're going to put you in contact with Lakeshore Legal Services. They provide free services for tenants because this is not the way that was supposed to go, and we're going to look to see what kind of emergency remedies that you can have. So the number to my office is 313-965-8736. Again, 313-965-8736. And just leave your information that we talked today. And so we're going to get you the information to get some free legal representation, because that wasn't supposed to occur.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out, is there any I need to figure out about trying to get my vehicle, and is there any kind of local assistance to where I could go to maybe get help with food or things or whatnot for right now?
Okay, the judge asked that you call, if you call his number, he will try to assist you. Leave your information and he will try to assist you. So call the number that the judge gave you and leave your information. He will call him tomorrow. He will have someone, or either he will contact you or have someone contact you to try to assist you. Thank you.
Also, caller, I would add that you are able to call the Board of Police Commissioners at 313-596-1830. Once again, that's 313-596-1830. If you would like to file a complaint against that officer, you're able to call that number to register a complaint against the Detroit Police Department.
Thank you.
Our next caller, Madam President, let's see here. I believe we may
I'm showing there's other callers.
Yes, ma'am. There are hands up, but I'm unable to put their hand down after they have made their question. So
I will follow up on that for our meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes,
Do we have any additional callers waiting?
I think I've been through all of the numbers that I see listed.
Okay, well, if we do not have any additional callers waiting, I don't know if there's any last words that our panelists would like to have to our listening audience. I'm going to start with you, Judge, so you can go into your mom's home. Do you have any last words to our listening audience?
Yes. First thing, everyone stay safe out there. This is a serious time. This is a time for prayer. This is a time for safety, and also for the court. If you have an emergency bond hearing, or if you need to pay a bond, the court is open. If you have a loved one in custody, his or her case will be heard. Other than that, non-essential cases will not be heard until after April 17th. But we are still open for other matters.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Council President.
Thank you so much. You are truly appreciated. I am going to go to Mr. Rencher. Do you have any final comments that you would like to leave?
Yes, President Jones, just want to make sure I give that number again. If you're in a situation where you need housing quickly, please call 313-484-4449. And also, there was someone who had talked about assistance with mortgages. I know that rent is going to be a tougher one that we have to figure out how to solve, but please reach out to your mortgage company if you are having difficulty at this time paying your mortgage. A lot of mortgage companies or lenders and even federally backed mortgages are providing a lot of relief for borrowers, so you can get some relief over at least for the next 3 months. And so I just want to make sure people know that they should be calling their mortgage agent. So just want to throw that out there.
Thank you. To you, Dr. Chad Oddie, do you have any additional words that you would like to leave to our listeners? Oh, there you are. If they unmute you, you have the floor.
I just want to, first of all, wish you a good health and thank you for everything that you're doing, as well as everyone in the panel today, and for giving us that opportunity. And we want to tell everyone who's listening to tell everyone if they know anyone who needs help, needs housing, have an issue with treatment, have problem with drugs and alcohol, we're always here. We're not going to close our doors. We've been praying for you. We'll continue to pray for everyone. And we just want people to pray for us. And please, anything anybody needs, they can always call our main number. And there's 24/7 somebody who answer, 313-993-4700. And hopefully we will be able to help as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chad Oddie, President and CEO of the Detroit Rescue Mission Ministry. Our treasurer, Eric Sabree.
Yes, Madam President, I just want to say that I'd like to emphasize going to our website, treasurer.waynecounty.com, or you can send an email at taxinfo@waynecounty.com just to get more information. We will be using U.S. mail more than ever before. And I want to tell people not to panic, not to be nervous, that we're going to work with them and to take care of their health. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Willie Donwell, the chair of the Detroit Property Tax Board of Review.
Council President, thank you. These are some unique times and it calls for unique leadership. So I just want to thank you for all that you do. It is so unusual these days, and so often we don't have individuals that want to step up to the plate to make sure that citizens understand their rights, have access to information, and access to opportunity. So I want to thank you for that. The Board of Review is here for you. The Board of Review is here to assist those citizens who are struggling with the payment of their property taxes, who are trying to get into the eligible pays process. The Board of Review is here for you. Please stay at home, call or email us, or through the City of Detroit's website, contact us. If you can't download it, we'll mail you an application. You do not have to come down. The building is not open. So it is available online, by email, or by phone. Get the application. You have the year to turn it in, but please, because you do have until December the 14th to turn it in, but please turn in as soon as possible. What we don't want to see happen is individuals where taxes are rolling over to Wayne County when we could have assisted you this year.
Thank you so much, Willie Donwell. Again, I want to just take the opportunity to thank all of our panelists today. I want to thank all of our participants today as well. And I also want to take the opportunity to ask you all to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be back here doing the same thing with a different panelist. Our panelists tomorrow will consist of Curtis Doster, Legislative Director for Congresswoman Brenda Jones. I'm sorry, I keep saying that. Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, and I talked to her today. Our Constant Logan.
I'm not going to say a thing, Madam President. Congresswoman, I'm not going to say a thing.
Thank you. Director of Small Business Administration, Michigan, Constant Logan. Dion Williams, Director of External Affairs and Faith-Based Initiatives, the Governor's Office. Kimberly Berry, Deputy Director of UIA, State of Michigan. Michael Polinelli, Field Officer, Director of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Again, I want to thank the panelists for today, thank all of the staff who have been working with the panelists, and I want to thank my producer, Jasmine Barnes, as well as my entire staff. Stephen Grady, Linda Wesley, Stacy Clayton, and all who have been working behind the scenes to ensure that we are able to bring this to our listeners who are at home. I want to thank everyone who has been calling me today, everyone who has been texting me, wishing me well. Trust me, I feel really good. I thank God that I feel really good and that I am able to do the job that I am doing this day. I thank God for waking me up this morning. And I just want to end by thanking him for protection and healing for everyone. And I want to say protection and healing for everyone while they are awake and while they are asleep. One of my favorite Bible verses is 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So let us not be fearful, I say to you, of this COVID-19, but know that through the power of the God that we serve, the scientists and the doctors and all involved will develop a cure and a vaccination. Let us continue to love each other. Let us continue to practice social distancing, washing our hands with soap and water, hot water. And when that is not available to you, if you're out shopping or whatever, buying your groceries, use hand sanitizer. Most of all, let's use the sound minds that God gave us by staying at home, by staying safe, and by being smart. I thank everyone for listening and tuning in today. Again, I cannot thank you all for the love that you have shown to me just this day. When I look at my phone, I have over 200 texts from people wishing me well, and my phone has just been ringing. God is truly a good God, and he has truly blessed me. And I thank him each and every day for the blessing that he hath blessed me with. I thank him for being able to do the job that I'm able to do and to be able to sit at home and come to you as you're sitting at home and bring the panelists who have volunteered of their services to give you the information that you need during these times that we have never faced of COVID-19. Again, I say to you, do not fear, do not be afraid. Be careful and do the things that they are asking you to do. Until we meet again, and hopefully there will be tomorrow when you tune in to hear our panelists tomorrow. Please stay safe. Please know that I appreciate you. I love you. And on Monday, that's coming up, that will be my 14 days. God has blessed me through this. He will continue to bless me, and I know he will, just as he will continue to bless you as long as you are listening and doing the things that you should be doing and not taking for granted that this cannot happen to you, because it can happen to any of us, just as it has happened to me. Please, please, please be safe. Keep your family safe. Exercise love. And don't be fearful, because God has not given us the mind to be fearful. God bless you all. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And until tomorrow, when we meet again, stay safe. God bless. And I'm going to tune off for Thursday. Thank you so much.
Madam President, thank you so much for that. I would be remiss if I did not mention that this program is being recorded and it will be available on your Facebook page, and it will be available broadcast again on Channel 10. It was not broadcast live, but we are recording all of these very important digital engagement sessions so that people will be able to review them at a later date and hopefully get answers to questions that they might have.
And I also want to add that unfortunately, we had to discontinue you being able to Zoom in because we had people who did not want to use their energy in a positive manner and was Zooming in, showing pictures that they should not have been showing and doing things that they should not have been doing as we continue to try to be constructive. God bless you. I'll see you again tomorrow, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. with our panelists. Thank you again for tuning in, listening to your Detroit City Council President and all those that are here serving you during this time of unknown. Remember, we are strong Detroiters, we are strong Michiganders, and this too shall pass, just like summer, winter, fall, and spring. This season will pass as well. God bless you. This will end our meeting for today.